Happy Thanksgiving, y'all. This is J77. I don't know why I sound like a Westerner there, but giving another flashback review. And I was trying to contemplate what film that I wanted to talk about, which movie that I actually want to actually bring uh, a Thanksgiving treat to, because it is Thanksgiving. I didn't want to do a rant video. I didn't want to do a bad review, but it's something of a wholesome review, something very positive. And I decided to do the movie on Mr. Toad and Ichabod Crane. This is a Disney film that is still debated by many fans and even non-fans alike of whether or not this is actually count as a feature-length film. On record, it is considered a feature-length film. It's not a very long film. It's about 63 minutes, so it just made the full-length mark. As you all know, the full-length mark requires any movie, at least at this time, to be over an hour long. So if it's an hour and 1 minute, it's considered a full-length picture. If it's under that minute, or it's just exactly 60 minutes, it's not considered a feature length. So keep that in mind when you see a film that is only 63 minutes long or 61 minutes long. It just made the 1 minute mark. They just made that 1 hour mark. The last film that actually was just an hour long was actually Winnie the Pooh. That was actually 65 minutes, and I think 5 of that minutes was done by a short. So it just got pushed right up to the mark. That is one of the main reasons why a lot of people think this is not a real full-length film. And plus, a lot of people felt that you can't really count at the time and still today a full-length film when it's actually two stories and one. So basically, if you take out one story and add not the other one, it can actually stand on its own as a half an hour short, which they are. They're half an hour short, and they are done by two narrators. One of them happens to play Sherlock Holmes, the late Russell Rackbone. I hope I'm saying his name right. He actually is real famous for playing Sherlock Holmes during the 30s. The 30s and 40s, pretty much doing where Sherlock Holmes was at his peak at that time, and many people still consider him as one of the best Sherlock Holmes ever done it. I'm, of course, a Jeremy Brett fan, but I've seen some of his movies, and I will be talking about his movies in the near future. But back to these two very good Disney shorts, and I call them shorts being compressed as to a feature-length film, because that's what they really are, but doesn't mean they're bad. Actually, they're very good. I liked the Toad story and how his irresponsibility for adventure and secret elements actually landed him into hot water to the point where he was arrested, and it was only then that, with the help of his friends, that he was able to clear his name, because as you all know, he was standing trial for actually stealing and actually doing something that many people could not find him. He actually gave the deed to this real famous house. Apparently, the guy was supposed to testify on his behalf, actually testified against him, which landed him in jail. The ending of that short was remarkable and fun and entertaining, but it was also the story itself that I actually grown to love. For those who have seen the story, it's pretty much about a guy who is not thinking about the consequences of his actions, or Toad, but most importantly, it shows just how reckless he was. He's not a bad character. I liked it, Mr. Toad, very, very much. I liked the characters and his friends who was trying to help him, despite the fact that he was being stubborn about it, and the fact that he was doing all sorts of reckless things, including giving the deed to probably one of the richest prize that he actually came to possession. So it was very, 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 very interesting story. And I had very little problem with that. All the Disney old films that I've seen, this one I actually liked the most, for the simple fact of his humor, of what the story was all about, as well as his entertaining, fun, way out there ending. Another thing I have to notice is this is actually one of the rare times, at least during that time, that you see a cartoon human character and the animal kingdom actually blend together, as if, okay, this is normal. Animals and humans can talk together. And that's fun. I actually thought it was fun and enjoyable, and when I saw it as a kid, I actually dig it even more. But the Toad story was always a big, big thing to me. Even now, today, it still holds up as one of my favorite shorts that was actually put into a feature-length film. I'm going to do two separate reviews, by the way, for this. And I'm going to give Toad 3.5 stars. Would have given it a fourth star um, if it wasn't for the fact that I had a little problem with how Toad, although he learned his lesson, he didn't really learn his lesson. And the fact is that I didn't dig the narration too much, but more of the story. But in any case, it is a 3.5 stars worth of fun. It's something that I definitely would recommend for everyone of all ages. Now let's get on to Ichabod Crane. A Sleepy Hollow story has always been an up and down situation with me. There are some good Sleepy Hollow stories, there's some bad ones, there's some so and so. I haven't checked out the Sleepy Hollow TV series yet. There's mixed reviews on that, but from what I understand, it got picked up for another season, so it impressed a lot of people, especially the executives. So I have to give that a shot. But in terms of my Sleepy Hollow, my first experience happens to be the Disney's version, which I actually enjoy. And what's so interesting about that, I think the Nostalgia Critic had brought this up in one of his videos, that Ichabod Crane wasn't really a likable character. I thought I was the only one who actually felt that way, but he really wasn't a likable character. He was actually more of a bad guy than the guy who we were supposed to not like, and that's kind of weird. But that what made it so good, because yeah, he is a flawed character in many ways. He is a character that that if you actually would meet, you definitely would get on your skin where you actually want to strangle him. And so when you see the situation where one of the main brutes have found out his weaknesses, and he's actually singing a song about the Headless Horseman, that you actually can see that yeah, he's getting on his skin without ever to resort to any kind of violence. There's no question that the ending, the last act, with him going home and riding home and actually confront head to head with the ghosts, with this mysterious headless horseman, was definitely classic. And I gotta tell you, it was scary. As a kid, I was scared to death of that scene, because you really didn't know what was happening. The music, in some ways, it worked, and in some ways it didn't. I never really felt the music blending well with that whole scene where he's chasing him, when the Headless Horseman is chasing Ichabod Crane. I don't know what it was, but that laugh really makes up for it. That laugh really did cover that one weakness for me, and man, was that a crazy, sinister laugh. The ending, I wouldn't say is sad or is unsatisfactory. It's just that it left it unknown. It's telling you that the horseman may have gotten him, but he also may have been he left town to start shop somewhere else and have a family of his own. It was very clear that the brute actually won over the girl which he was trying to win over for a long time, until Ichabod came over, and even though he did had a liking to the girl, it was very clear just by his thoughts that he was looking at the possibility of money, which is another reason why I found very interesting too. And I didn't really pick up on it until I saw it again during my later youth, that I realized this guy's not really, digging this girl because he actually loved her for who she is. She's actually digging the girl because, number one, she's rich. And that was always something that I caught on that I didn't catch before, but I was like, wow, I'm surprised I missed that, But that's what happened when you watch films when you're young, and then when you watch it again as you get older, you get to pick up on some things that went over your head. This is one of the reasons why some films that you think is actually meant for kids are actually meant for a lot older audiences. And for Disney, especially during a younger age, there was a lot of films that was geared towards children but had a lot of adult themes. And it's kind of ironic that those adult themes, those dark tones that they took, is actually one of the reasons why most of the animation films are deemed as classic, because they didn't hold back. I kind of wish they would have done that with their live action film, but that's a different story for a different day. So I wasn't upset with the ending. If anything else, it pretty much, if you guys, and this is something of a little bit of an Easter egg tip for you guys, and those who have been a fan of the show pretty much know, there was a special episode from the real Ghostbusters. And I know this is like, what the hell am I talking about the real Ghostbusters on a Disney film? But hear me out. The real Ghostbusters actually took clippings from this Disney movie. They actually fill in the gaps of what happened, that he survived, but the curse actually followed Ichabod and his ancestors throughout the course of time. They actually took a piece of the story from this movie and actually incorporated it in their own little way in that episode. It was a very good episode. You should check it out. It's actually pretty good. So that pretty much answered my question for me. I was kind of satisfied. I said, all right, yes, that's good. I know that people saying, well, you shouldn't compare the two. I'm just saying that they took a piece of that scene and added it to their show and just move forward from there. So I don't consider it stealing, just borrowing little elements and keep it moving. This one I'm gonna give 3.5 stars as well. I mean, this is a 3.5 stars movie. I know people say don't call it a movie. It's not a movie, but it is a movie. It came out in theaters. It was seen in a theater in a theater, so it is definitely a movie. Is it one of the most memorable Disney film they have had? Yes, it is, because a lot of people still consider this as one of the big classics during that golden age when Disney was actually still alive, and it's actually one of the movies that on holiday season Disney will actually put it on and actually put it on as part of a marathon. In fact, one of the main reasons why I saw this was during holiday seasons like Thanksgiving, and they actually played this. During Thanksgiving on Thursday and Fridays, Disney had a long marathon on Channel 5 and played every last of their classics from their live action films to even their animation films, and it was probably one of the best treats I ever had growing up. Seeing a lot of these classic films on TV without worrying about the film never being seen again. This was one of the things that introduced me to David Crockett. I wish it didn't, but it introduced me to David Crockett, some of the Disney characters, including my all-time favorite Disney Christmas specials, Scrooge, Mickey Mouse Christmas. So there's a lot of history between that, and this film is no different. So overall, 3.5 stars. If you wanted me to say my favorite, surprisingly, it's Toad. I think Toad was a better film by just a half a point. So I'll give it to them. But still, they're, as the stars go, they're equally matched. But my personal favorite will always be Toad. What is your personal favorite about these two? Have you seen these two movies, or do you like it? Didn't like it? I'd like to hear your opinion on it. But until then, it's J77 saying take care, be safe, and I'll talk to you soon.